Are ASICS having a come up? They seem to have growing communities in both the sporting and streetwear niche. And today we're going to be talking about how they did it. I'm Elijah Delport and this is Brand Breakdown, where we're looking into the content strategies of great clothing brands so that you can improve your own. In today's video, we're going to be watching and analyzing 3 shorts from the ASICS Instagram page. You're going to watch one now. I'm going to be analyzing it in a moment.
Hello, workers. Another long day at the office. Boss being a meanie. Too bad. Shut up. Listen, I've got some important news. It turns out that I'm not the deadliest thing in the office. This is. It's a killer. Science has shown it can be bad for your mental health.
But I don't see you running away from it.
No, your boss has you locked to it for 8, 9, 10 hours a day. Look at you, trading your own mental health for free fruit and a wellness Wednesday? Banana, anyone? The fruit. Wake up, geniuses. I'm giving you the truth. It's a trap. You need to get away from your desk. Run, jump, roller skate. Whatever, I don't care. Just move for your mind.
I'm not gonna lie, I feel slightly convicted. I've been sitting at this desk all day. I think I'm gonna have to go for a run after this. With any kind of social media, whether you're selling a product, you're selling a service, or you're just doing it for fun, one thing is very clear. It's important to give an audience value. Now, it's hard to do that if you're just talking about your product all the time, and that's why ASICS makes a video like this, because they can give more value if it's about the idea that they're selling behind the product. In this case, it's about having a healthy soul, a healthy mind, and therefore a healthy body. Now let's break this down even further. There are 3 ways to give value through your content. You can entertain, educate, or inspire. In the case of this video, ASICS is mainly entertaining and it crosses over in part into inspiration as well. But it's funny, it's comedy, and if it makes me laugh, I'm going to watch it because that's providing me with value. What exactly makes this funny? Well, there's first the hyperbole, which is just another word for exaggeration. It's when he says, the desk is a killer, it's a trap, run away. A desk isn't actually going to kill you. And it's funny because it's taking a very real idea that sitting at your desk all day could be unhealthy and taking it to a far extreme. And that far extreme is where comedy may lie. In this case, it certainly does. I find it funny anyway. The second thing that makes this entertaining and funny is juxtaposition. We expect a man who's wearing a full suit. In fact, that's what we see in the beginning. On top, he's wearing his tie, he's got his suit jacket, and then he stands up, and of course, we see his running shorts, his very white legs, and his ASICS running shoes. It's a juxtaposition from what you expect, and when you juxtapose expectations, you also call for a laugh. Finally, relatability. It makes me open up and even bring my wall down so I may laugh at whatever jokes they might tell when I feel like they understand me. And they do, because they're saying things that people who go to work in 9-to-5 jobs and sit at a desk all day will understand. They're real things in the office culture. For example, your boss being a meanie. I'm sure most people that have worked a job have experienced that at some point in their life. Or the Wellness Wednesdays. I laugh at it simply because I get the joke, and that's sometimes enough. And I'm no professional comedian, but I identify these 3 strategies as what makes this funny, what entertains me, and therefore what brings me value, and why I'd want to stay for longer and watch this video, which would in turn boost its engagement. The second thing I believe is fantastic about this video example is that it's mission focused. They have a very clear aim, and it's to get workers off the desk and start moving in the real world. This is so great because communities need a common mission. We need something that we're working together towards, because if we don't know what that is, then we have no reason to unite. If there's no grounds to be unified, then why would we anyway? Even in the caption, ASICS talks about World Mental Health Day in October and how this is a public service announcement for office workers. There's going to be some people in the audience that are very, very passionate about mental health, about getting moving, and ASICS is inviting them to be a part of this greater movement that they're creating. And so this is where a brand becomes less about clothing and more about the community who wears the clothing. And that's something that only few brands can say that they've got. And on the point of being mission focused, I read one of the comments and it said this: "Best ad I've seen in a long time." And I immediately stood up from my desk when he started talking. Yes, sir, end quote. ASICS is actually creating positive change in the world, real positive change. People are changing their actions. There is transformation taking place. And what happens as a result is people will associate that transformation with the ASICS product. And so anyone who believes in this lifestyle of being active and having a sound mind will therefore go to ASICS first and foremost, because other brands don't bring that transformation as well as this brand does. So I encourage you, think beyond your product. Think in ways that you can bring real value, real transformation, create real positive change in the content that you produce. Now, if there's any takeaway from this video, it should be this: it's not the execution that makes this great, it's the idea. The execution's actually simple. Yes, there's a high production value, the lighting looks beautiful, there's stunning cameras behind this. But you, a brand with a $0 budget and one of the later iPhones, could shoot something exactly like this that gets similar results. What makes this video great is a good idea, a good script, and maybe a bit of good acting along the way too. Worst case scenario, you go to your friends and they're the ones that feature in the video. But my point is simple: just make good ideas and focus on that before even getting to the execution, because that's what's going to make or break your fashion film. All right, people, we still got 2 pieces of content that we're watching and breaking down. The next clip that you're about to see will show you how you can do influencers on a budget and actually how the cheaper route could be better for your brand. Let's see how ASICS is doing it and how you can do it too.
I was an alcoholic at the age of 16 and I went from there to heroin and all the rest of it, like just drugs. Anything to get away from myself, basically.
Mental health is something that we all have, and by being active and trying to create like a healthy mind-body balance, it can often really help with the struggle that something like we all generally face. Being part of the Get Active group has been amazing. With the support from ASICS, it helps create these opportunities they might not be able to enjoy otherwise. Seeing people's confidence grow, just to ease some of the mental strain that people can face.
I started coming to mind, and it's taken a while, but I started starting to talk to people and really sort of seeing people and seeing what other people are going through. I see life as a gift, and I could feel that it was a good place.
You can see this is quite a contrast to the first piece of content that we looked at. And I want this to tell you one thing. It's that don't be afraid to have different purposes achieved with different pieces of content. Some are meant to bring people in and make them laugh. Others are actually meant to make them think and inspire them. That's why I say educate, entertain, and inspire. So we're introduced to Griselda, who is a woman who used to face drug and alcohol addiction, and she overcame it in part thanks to the community and to exercise. And they're telling this story because we care more about who's wearing it than what they're wearing. To really drive my point home, I want you to imagine that you're someone that has also struggled with drug and alcohol addiction like Griselda. You are going to watch this inspiring story and you resonate in part with what she's saying. And you associate that story and the idea of overcoming those struggles through fitness with the product itself, with the shoes, with the pants, with the shirt. And that gives you a particular kind of attachment to the product. And again, it's about who's wearing it, not what they're wearing. There are so many fitness products on the market that are readily available, whether it be Nike, whether it be Adidas, yet we still choose which brands we want to be a part of. It's because we really do care about the communities that we associate ourselves with. And ASICS is really playing into that with this video. This brings me to a concept that I like to call anchoring. And it's that as a brand, you cannot create a community. The community already exists. You simply have to associate your brand with that community. And the way you do that is by anchoring your brand name and this corporate entity that you're building to people that are already established and associated with that community. For example, Griselda is that person for the mental health fitness space. It's by finding real people in the community and creating content with them that people might start saying, you're a brand for the people, or really down to earth, or even authentic. We like to throw around that buzzword, but that's how we do it. It's through anchoring. And I want to sell you on the idea that it might actually be better to use people that aren't influencers or don't have any kind of status or following in the community. And I'll tell you why. It's a very different effect if I see a particular brand worn by someone like Kim Kardashian versus Griselda. Even if they have the same story or they share particular elements of personality, I will always see Kim as a celebrity and Griselda as an everyday person. I can just relate with her better. And the good news is it's cheaper to work with everyday people. Everyone has access to them, no matter what size your brand is, and it might actually pay off better than a celebrity would anyway. And it says something that ASICS, that has all the money in the world, that could work with anyone they could, works with everyday people. And they do work with celebrities. It's a yes and, not an if or. Finally, I want to talk about community events. ASICS hasn't created their own pop-up or had to gather their own people. They've simply gone to an existing organization that already runs frequent and consistent events, and they show up on the day with their camera. They get permission to do some interviews, and that's how they create content like this. So you could go out and create your own events, or you could simply associate your brand with someone else's existing event. And that's what I would suggest if you have very little time and money resources. It's a way to do a lot with a little. The best part is you don't even have to come up with the content. The people there are the content. I've got one last piece of content to show you from the ASICS Instagram page that shows us how the brand acknowledges people in the community. But before that, here's a quick break. I'll be back in a moment. I believe community is the X factor in any brand that's seen any kind of success. It's the very thing that's going to take your clothing brand from here to up here. And so I did the most logical thing. I created a community of my own of brand owners who are building their own communities. Look, it's totally free to join, and I promise being in a group of other passionate brand owners who are going to keep you accountable, who you can ask questions to, who are going to give you advice, is the very thing that's going to help you take it to the next level, especially when we're working with small teams. When you probably can't afford to have a whole room of creatives around you, well, here it is. For free. There's a link in the description that you can use to join right now. I can't wait for you to get this value. I'll see you on the other side. But for now, back to the video.
Ladies and gentlemen.
When I was training, my coach told me, you can run 202. So I believe in him, and I knew now I wanted to close the season with my PB, and I did it.
202. Hey, I'm a bit of a runner, but that is ridiculous. This is such a simple and oh so powerful concept in how to build a community. And all they're doing is acknowledging and congratulating a community member. What this says to us as an audience when we see content like this is a few different things. Number one, you're showing us that there's other people in the community than just you and your company and your brand. All too often, I see brand pages that just have the face of the brand owner, probably to show some authenticity behind what they're doing or growing a community. But the problem with this is that I only see you and your face, and it's not a community if it's just you. That's why I always say that if you want to build a personal brand, then it belongs on your personal page. Because a brand page is the space to acknowledge other people in the community. And more than acknowledging that there are others in the community, This content shows us that the brand cares. It's not about the product. It's not trying to sell me on something. It's simply congratulating someone else. It's elevating someone else with their platform. So ask yourself the question today. Number one, who is in your community? And number two, how can you elevate the people in your community with your platform? Are you building a community of artists and creatives? Great, then share their art. Congratulate specific artists in the community that are doing great works and serving their own corner of the world. If your community is for outdoor explorers and hikers, then just like this ASICS video, share someone's personal distance best. Or maybe you're a brand for skaters and you want to highlight and spotlight skaters in your local area. People that are bringing their friends together and just making loneliness less of an issue. Big or small, it doesn't matter. Either way, you show us that there's actually people in this community and that you care. Thanks for watching this brand breakdown. If you enjoyed, then please leave a like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And heck, if it was really good, then I invite you to join my group of brand owners that are building their own communities of loyal customers. There's a link in the description that you can join for free. I've even got a clothing brand marketing course on the inside. But that's all from me. I'm Elijah Delport. I'll see you for the next video. It's probably somewhere on screen right now. Could be. It's possible. It's possible I've forgotten as well. I'm only human and my dog's barking. You may or may not hear that.